You'd think being an emperor meant silk, gold, and a different outfit every hour, right? Well, not if you were Emperor Daowang of the Qing dynasty. This guy wasn't about the drip, he was about the patch. This man was a vibe killer for luxury. A frugal king, the CEO of cost-cutting. The king who looked at imperial grandeur and said, "That's too expensive." But why was he like this? It wasn't just a personality quirk. Daowang inherited a financial disaster. By the 1820s, the Qing treasury was bleeding silver. The empire had ballooned, territory-wise and ego-wise, but the actual revenue? Not keeping up. Silver was flowing out to pay for opium, and inflation was creeping in like a bad smell. Rebellions were popping up like mushrooms, and wars looming. So what does Daowang do? He tightens the belt, hard. He orders officials to reuse old furniture, reuse paper, and even, get this, patch up worn-out dragon robes instead of ordering new ones. Now, this wasn't just about being thrifty. In Confucian logic, the emperor is the role model. His restraint was supposed to set the tone for the entire bureaucracy. So he pulled out his old robes, got them patched up, and proudly wore them around court like they were haute couture. And honestly, the look caught on. Officials started doing it too, whether out of loyalty or just to kiss up. Suddenly, patchwork was fashion in the Forbidden City, with Daowang as a trendsetter. But then came the real stitch-up. Daowang saw his ministers in patched robes and beamed. "Oh, you mend your robes too?" he asked, thrilled to see his thriftiness trending. And ever the curious budget hawk, he asked, "How much does it cost to patch a robe like this outside the palace?" Enter the sly court official, Chao Zhenyo. Now, Chao wasn't new to the game. He knew corruption was baked into the palace system. So he paused for a beat, just long enough to pretend he was calculating, and gave a wildly exaggerated number. Just to sound impressive. And yet, Daowang still looked shocked. Turns out, his actual patching bill, processed through the oh-so-honest Imperial Household Department, was even higher than Chao's wild estimate. Some say it was more expensive than making an entirely new robe. Frugality? Flopped. But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on how much you love noodles. During one of his pre-throne undercover tours, Daowang had fallen head over heels for a humble street food, glass noodle soup. Warm, simple, satisfying, and dirt cheap. After he became emperor, he thought, why not relive that taste of the people? So he asked the palace kitchen to whip it up. You'd think they'd say yes, your majesty, and get boiling. But nope. They told him they couldn't make it unless they built an entirely new kitchen with new tools, new facilities. Basically a full-blown noodle temple, just to make noodles. Daowang wasn't buying it. Fine, just go get it from the street vendor I used to buy from. Simple. Days passed. No glass noodles. The palace staff finally came back with long faces and said, "We've searched high and low for those vendors, but they're nowhere to be found." And here's the scandalous truth. They weren't searching. They were silencing. The palace officials had secretly ordered all the glass noodle vendors in the city to shut down. Why? Because if Daowang ever got that humble dish again, he'd realize just how hard they'd lied to him. About the kitchen, about the cost, about everything. So in the end, the emperor stayed robe-patched and noodle-less, betrayed by his own people, wrapped in a lie more intricate than his dragon embroidery. He tried to be frugal, but in a palace full of grifters, even a bowl of noodles became a political minefield. So what's the moral of the story? When the palace is riddled with corruption, even a humble emperor with a patched robe and a craving for noodles ends up paying royal prices. Thrifty emperor? Yes. But the result? Not what you think.